Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a really fascinating pair of sources.
Yeah, we've got a personal reflection and then this poem that goes with it.
Exactly. And they both focus on this, well, seemingly small classroom moment, learning experience.
But one that clearly had huge ripples, right? A big impact down the line.
That's what we want to explore, how a teacher's approach, maybe their intuition, can, really shape a student's whole path. Learning, self-discovery, all of it.
And the source material is great for this. We have the memory itself, and then this poem, it inspired Mrs. Topalion's seed.
The memory gives us the sort of what happened.
And the poem really digs into the how it felt, the meaning it took on over time. It's quite powerful together.
It really is. And it immediately got me thinking, have you ever had a teacher who saw something in you, something you didn't quite see yourself yet?
Oh, absolutely. It's that kind of moment we're diving into, the power of someone just getting it or getting you.
It feels like something a lot of people might connect with, actually. Those small interactions that end up being, well, not so small.
Yeah, a real pivot point sometimes. For curiosity, even just how you see yourself.
Okay, so let's get into the story here. The reflection starts with a pretty standard assignment.
Right, find a poem, read it to the class, simple enough.
But the student, who mentions they were just starting to explore meditation at the time.
Uh-huh, suggesting maybe an openness to different kinds of thinking.
Yeah, maybe. They picked this unnamed Eastern poem. And the interesting thing is, they admit they didn't really understand it. Not intellectually, anyway.
But they felt drawn to it. That's key, isn't it? That instinct. It wasn't about analysis yet.
Exactly. It speaks to that deep curiosity, maybe, that goes beyond just wanting facts. It's like your intuition is pulling you towards something.
Yeah, like something resonates even before your brain can, fully process why.
So the student reads this poem out loud, and then the teacher, Mrs. Topalion, asks for a critique. Standard procedure, right?
You'd expect that, yeah. Analyze it. Tell us what it means.
But the student just says, honestly, it was self-explanatory.
Wow. Okay. And the reflection clarifies this wasn't like being difficult or lazy.
No, not at all. It was more like they felt this connection, this deep sense of the poem, but they just didn't have the words or maybe the life experience yet?
That makes sense. It's like knowing something without being able to explain how you know it. It bypasses the usual analytical steps.
Which in most classrooms might not fly,
Yeah.
right? The reflection even says most teachers wouldn't let you get away so easily.
Right. You'd be expected to come up with something, an interpretation, a theme.
But Mrs. Topalion didn't. She didn't push. And this is where her intuition, her compassion really shines.
It seems like she just saw the student was struggling, not with the poem itself, but with articulating that connection.
Yeah. She recognized it wasn't about defiance. It was about being on the cusp of understanding something profound, maybe.
And she chose not to force it. Which really makes you think about what good teaching is. Is it just drilling analysis? Or is it also about, well, nurturing that spark, even when it's hard to define?
Mrs. Topalion definitely seemed to lean towards nurturing the spark.
And the poem captures this so well, doesn't it? With that central idea, the seed.
Oh, yeah, that metaphor's powerful. She didn't crush the seed beneath rule's boot. I love
Yeah,
that line.
me too. She let it rest in the soil of my uncertainty where life and time could nurture it. It's about giving it space.
Exactly. Allowing understanding to kind of unfold organically instead
Yeah.
of demanding it right there on the spot. It's a whole different approach to learning.
A much more patient one. And potentially much more impactful in the long run. Because if she had pushed,
Right. The reflection mentions this. The student thinks about how easily that initial connection could have been, well, squashed, turned into a negative experience.
if the teacher had been more rigid, yeah. It highlights how crucial Mrs. Topalion's choice was in that moment.
Okay, let's really dig into the poem itself now, Mrs. Topalion's Seed, because it adds so much feeling to this.
It really does. It starts by setting the scene, right? Sunlight spilled like quiet dreams across young desks. Just lovely imagery.
Yeah, it feels so gentle, so nurturing almost. And even how it describes the assignment. Find a poem, read it, let it breathe.
Let it breathe. That's interesting phrasing. It's not analyze it or dissect it. It's about letting the poem itself have presence.
It suggests valuing the experience, the engagement, not just the academic breakdown, which fits perfectly with the student's own connection to that Eastern poem.
Yeah, that intuitive poem. The poem calls it ancient vibes, a whisper of something newborn in me. It wasn't thought out. It was felt.
And then the poem addresses that moment after the reading, the inability to critique.
Mm.
The poem held secrets not yet shared with my unfolding chapters.
That's such a beautiful way to put it. Understanding is an instant. It grows with us. Our chapters need to unfold first.
And Mrs. Topalion's response, her compassion, is described as a sure, soft, endless knowing when to recede.
Wow. What a metaphor for that kind of supportive guidance. Not overwhelming, just there. Knowing when to give space.
It really emphasizes her sensitivity, doesn't it? Her awareness of what that student needed right then, which wasn't pressure.
Definitely not pressure. And the poem is so direct about the danger she avoided. She didn't crush the seed beneath Rule's boot. It's a really strong image against inflexible teaching.
And the payoff, the long-term impact, is just crystal clear.
Yeah. Years later, I still think of that seed, how her choice, her grace, her light touch let my roots grow wild and untamed.
Wild and untamed. That suggests it fostered not just understanding, but maybe creativity, authenticity, something beyond just academic success.
I think so. It speaks to the kind of influence a teacher can have that goes way beyond the curriculum, planting something that grows over decades.
And that leads into that lovely analogy of the teacher as a gardener.
Oh, right. Gardeners of the mind, the soul, planting seeds in shadows, trusting the light to find its way.
It's this idea of faith, isn't it? Trusting the student's potential, trusting the process, even when the results aren't immediate.
Exactly. And the poem ties it all back to the present day. I honor her every time my own words bloom.
So that initial moment, that seed, is still bearing fruit in the student's own expression now. The legacy continues.
It's a really complete picture of cause and effect, but on a very human, emotional level.
So if we boil this down, what are the key takeaways here? For me, the absolute standout is the power of a teacher's intuition, their compassion.
Yeah, it wasn't about sticking rigidly to the plan. It was about reading the room, reading the student, and responding with understanding.
And recognizing that learning isn't always linear. You don't always get it right away.
Yeah.
That intuitive connection, even if you can't explain it, is valid. It's real learning happening.
Absolutely. It champions the idea of planting seeds, curiosity, inspiration, and trusting that they'll grow. It's a long game.
And it serves as a bit of a warning, maybe, against being too rule-bound, too rigid in education.
It certainly suggests that flexibility and empathy can unlock potential that a stricter approach might, well, accidentally stifle.
Ultimately, it kind of elevates the role of a teacher, doesn't it? Beyond just delivering information.
It's about nurturing that love of learning, that journey of self-discovery. Mrs. Topalion did that with one seemingly small act of grace.
It really makes you think.
It does. And maybe that's the final thought for you listening. Cast your mind back. Was there a moment like that for you? A teacher, a mentor, anyone, really?
Yeah, someone who's understanding, or maybe just a different way of looking at things, sparked something in you.
What were the seeds planted in your own journey? And, looking back now, how have they grown? It's worth pondering.